How's it going? Today we're going to be looking at how to use the new Networth tracker in Excel. To start off, let's break down the contents of this spreadsheet. First, we have an instruction sheet which walks us through step by step how to use this spreadsheet. Next, we have our Input and Dashboard tab, which is where we will enter in our data as well as where we will view our graphics. Finally, we have our Pivot Table tab, which is where we'll go to transform our data into these graphics we see here. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off with step 1, we are told to enter in all of our assets and liabilities in our Input and Dashboard tab, along with their corresponding amounts. For assets, these include things such as cash, investment accounts, real estate, bonds, and anything else that holds value. Depending on the asset and your preference, you may either use the asset's current value or what you purchased it for. For our liabilities, these include things such as credit card debt, student loans, and mortgages. I'm going to go ahead and enter in some sample items. Once we enter in our information, we immediately notice several things. First off, we see that our assets and liabilities are summed up individually in these cells. These are then used to calculate your net worth, which is simply your total assets less your total liabilities. We see this calculation in this cell here, which displays your current net worth. Below this box, we see this graphic showing how much of our assets are funded by debt versus our own capital. In my example, we are funded by 21% debt and 79% equity. If all of a sudden my credit card debt was $22,000 instead of $2,200, we see this graphic changes drastically. You'll also notice that these graphics here remain unchanged. We'll get to this shortly. Moving on to step 2, we are now told to enter in our net worth in the historical data table along with its corresponding date. Over time, this will feed into this graph here, giving us a hopefully beautiful graphic such as this. It's also worth noting that we need to be sure that we type in this number. If we reference it, then this will automatically update when we update our tracker the following month. For this next part, I went ahead and input some sample data for the following year and a half. Step 3 tells us to go into our pivot table and refresh it for our new data. To do this, simply right-click into the pivot table and choose Refresh. You'll notice that we have all of our data included in here now, which will show up in our graphics. I'm going to do the same thing for our other two tables. Before we view our completed graphics, we still need to complete step 4, which tells us to remove any errors from our pivot tables. To do this, simply click on these filters up here and remove items such as blank, Formula 1, or 0, which will skew your data. Once we've done this, we're ready to view our dashboard. Here we see breakdowns of our assets and liabilities by type, which can help us visualize the makeup of our portfolio. We can also track our net worth over time in the graphic, which can be very satisfying to look at over a long period of time. At the end of every month, all you have to do is come back to this spreadsheet and spend 2 minutes updating with your current financials. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.